All right. Okay. Probably got about 2 minutes. I'm here a little early. Hey, family. The dark glasses are because my eyes are not bloodshot because I'm not high or anything like that. They're just sensitive to the light, and I'm getting some work done. So this is why the mystique. But if you look at all my old shows, you'll see these same black glasses. Anyway, welcome to Riq the Critic, and thank you for allowing me to come into your home again. And as always, I'm excited because you could be a lot of different places. You could be watching anything, but you're watching me. So I'm eternally grateful for that. Today, family, I want to talk about family. I want to talk about what it means to be family, and not just, when we're talking about family, it's not just blood, not just what brings us together, but blood, but what brings us together as a whole. You know, the Bible talks about each member and this, the hand and all that, and it's a member and it all makes, you know, the church. I want to talk about family. And without naming names, I want to, do you remember when you were younger and your mother used to say, look, you know, just think, don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing. And then she'd say things like, you know, that's your brother, you always look out for your brother, or that's your sister, you guys, you know, stick together. And you know that in our culture, it's like if we're somewhere with our cousin or brother or something like that, if something happens to them, it happens to us too. They dare not go home and say that somebody jumped on them and you were standing there just watching. And whether the fight is right, wrong, or indifferent, you know, you kind of got to get in it because it's family. So that's what we do. We get in it, we argue, we fight, we, you know, find fault about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we're still family. So with that being said, I want to talk about the things that are going on out in the world. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people doing different things, and you know, as individuals, we can say what we want to say. We can do what we want to do. I mean, we have that freedom. And sometimes, pardon me, sometimes we don't exercise that freedom. A lot of times we'll be quiet about things and we'll just kind of let things just, you know, just go and not say anything at all. When certain times there, you know, there's a time to speak, there's a time to be quiet. There's times for that, to do that. And sometimes when we should be quiet, we aren't. And sometimes when we should be vocal, you know, we aren't. These are one of those times. And when I say that, I say this. Right now, we are in a world where we have people from young all the way up to old that are doing many, many amazing, amazing things. And with all of that comes the money and all the other things that come with it. And sometimes with money magnifies whatever flaws you have, whatever character flaws you have. Oftentimes money magnifies that. And so you've heard people say, you know, when they were broke, that there were certain things they wouldn't do. And then when they got money, they would, you know, just kind of go all out and out because they felt like, you know, there was no reaction, not so much as reaction, but no repercussions. No one to come back and say, hey, listen, you know, you did this. There's no accountability, if you might say. So I'm saying this to say that, you know, whether we agree or we don't agree, oftentimes it's just good to just be silent. There are times when, you know, I want to say things like with my children, when my children are, when we're talking about things and, talking about our grandchildren, my grandchildren, their children, and we're talking about different things. And I raise my children different and they raise their children different. And I'm sure their children will raise their children different. But the one common goal that we do share is that, we all agree sometimes, not sometimes, but all the time, that what goes on here stays here. So oftentimes what happens is families get larger or what have you, or get married or whatever, and they go their separate ways. There's still that camaraderie. There's still that family bond. And we can talk about each other. We can cry about each other. There's a lot of things that we can do, but we still, at the end of the day, it's still my brother. It's still my sister. So with that being said, people have the right to say whatever they want to say, whether we agree with it, whether we don't agree with it. Sometimes it's just good to be quiet. Move in silence. I was talking to my daughter today, and we were talking about how, people are just so vocal and just with all the things going on, they just, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, sometimes it's just good to be silent. Just be silent. It's okay. When you see other people, and I don't want to say cultures, because in every culture, there's bullshit. It's bullshit in the Mexican culture, in the Jewish culture, in the white culture. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's bullshit in all of them. And because you're not in that immediate circle, you don't see it. But everybody got a drunk uncle that's going to tear up the place, or one of these bougie aunts. I mean, all of that shit goes on in all cultures. I've been a lot of places, and I've traveled to a lot of different countries, and I've seen, the same kind of thing in every culture. What happens with cultures, people kind of like label them and say, "Ooh, that culture does this, that culture does that, That's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? They all do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? They all have the character flaws, and they all have that crazy uncle or that crazy aunt, or, you know what I'm saying, that daddy or whatever. Everything that goes on in everybody else's life, it goes on in everybody's life. It doesn't matter what culture you are. It doesn't hit, just one culture and not another and all. That's not true. But what you will see is that a lot of times, and oftentimes, other cultures are silent. They can behave badly, and you won't hear anything. What I'm saying, family, is this: when we see our brother or our sister behaving badly, we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to say anything. We just need to know that, hey, you know what? That's just our crazy cousin, or that's just our crazy brother, or that's just so-and-so. No, we don't stop loving them. We don't stop loving them because they family. We love them. We just give them some distance. And what eventually happens is, the longer you give them space, one or two things happen. You give them space, and they just continue going on, and the gap gets larger and larger and larger. Or what happens is, one day they think about it, and it's like, wow, you know what? I had family. I had people that loved me and that cared about me. And it comes back. And when it comes back to them, then they start to reach out. And when they do reach out, we need to be there to say, hey, come on back home, crazy cousin. Come on back home, crazy brother. Come on back home, crazy sister. They're still our family. And so exactly with that being said, like I said, sometimes it's just good just to be quiet. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you disapprove or you approve, it's not always necessary to voice your opinion. Now, with that being said, there are some things that we can voice our opinion about. Some of the things that we need to be very vocal about and coming together on is our reparations. Reparations is a very, 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 very serious damage that has been done to Black Americans, and we need to be compensated. That's something we need to be talking about. That should be a big part of our conversation with each other, and understanding. And even with that conversation going on with each other, it should be like, hey, it should be coming together, talking about businesses, coming together and talking about, you know what I'm saying, the future. Should be coming together and doing those things. And with those things, with coming together and sharing, a lot of times that person may have the information I need for me to elevate. I may have that information for that person, for them to elevate. So if we come together and we begin to have a conversation, we kind of know where each other's head is. And when something comes one way, it's like in the nonprofit, like in the nonprofit sector. My nonprofit may be for children that are born from parents that are on drugs. My girlfriend may have a nonprofit that services adult children that are come out of abusive homes. This one may have, feeding kids or whatever. But what happens sometimes is that across my desk may come some information that may not deal with my particular nonprofit, but it may deal with my sisters, it may deal with my brothers. And in that instance, I get on the phone and like, hey, listen, something just came across my desk that might be of interest. I'm going to email it to you, check it out, and if it doesn't work for you, think about somebody else and send it to them. We're going to have to start coming together about things and not just being so vocal. We need to start being more aware of our surroundings. We need to be more aware about who we associate and align ourselves up with. Sometimes you can be judged because of the company that you keep. I know that was something my grandmother used to say, you're judged by the company that you keep. And I thought I was young and I thought, she's crazy. I mean, just because they act like that has nothing to do with me. It has a lot to do with you. And you are judged sometimes by the company you keep. I got a crazy friend that I just love to pieces. I just love this guy to pieces. He's crazy as all get up, but I love him. And I would kill somebody if they tried to do something to him or they said something to me. I would be very irate. But you know what I'm saying? That's just it's just a crazy cousin or the crazy friend or whatever, And again, like I said, we just need to be able to understand that brother or sister that's going through, and just, we can separate ourselves at the time and we can come back to it. We can revisit it, or we can just choose to stay away and help from afar. Whichever one that you decide, you know what I'm saying? We should always be at a point where we extend our hand to our brother or to our sister. We have got to be more, and I hear people, I love Michi X, I like Tariq. I listen to a lot of people, but I also understand that there are things that are happening with them that they just feel like, hey, it's just, I'll never forgive them for that, and I'll never connect with them. And that's okay. That's okay. You never have to be friends. You never have to like each other. But no one really needs to know. No one really needs to know. And sometimes when people are talking and saying things, sometimes your silence is better than you voicing your opinion or saying what you want to say, because you're angry or because you're hurt. Sometimes it's better not to say anything at all. That way you don't even have to explain it. If it comes back and it's not exactly like you put it out there, then you got to explain it. And sometimes, that just opens up another wound. So sometimes it's just better to be quiet. Just not say anything. Just be quiet. Okay, now, I've had my conversation with you, family, and I think you understand what I'm saying. We need to come together. We need to love one another, whether it's up close, up personal, or way afar. We can still love afar, but we just got to have that love, okay? Now, that being said, you got the drift. You know where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Now, I want to talk about something else here that's been really kind of bugging me. I would say in the last, couple of years, I've been seeing a lot of rappers. They just been dropping dead. Not dropping dead, but they've been shot, or it's just been just so many murders and so many things happening. And I want to, I'm Riq the Critic. You know how I am, and you know how I think. You know, my mind is always conspiracy, and it may not be, but it's who I am. And I'm always thinking out the box. I'm not so sure that all these murders are a result of a gang rivalry or I don't like you. I'm not so sure about that. Because here's the thing, and I want you to put your thinking cap on and think about it. You know, at one time we had a lot of Bloods and Crips, and it was a lot of gang wars and a lot of shooting and killing and all that. And then at some point they came together and said, hey, enough is enough. You know, we're not going to kill each other. We're going to respect each other's areas, and we're not going to do so much. And if you notice, that thing has died down. You know, you don't hear a lot about gang members killing and all that, because what actually happened was that they realized that it wasn't just gang members killing gang members. There were other groups of people. And I just come out and say it was the police. It was other organizations, military, that just came out and just were causing these rifts in our community. And what happened was somebody said, no more, no more, no more. The Crips and the Bloods were actually formed, just like the Black Panthers were formed in areas. Blood meant, you know, like, hey, we family and we gonna take care of one another. And Crips was, it was the same thing. It was like, we're gonna police our area and we're going to take care of our community. That's how the Crips and Bloods actually got started. That's why they were started. But somehow, and I don't know what happened, but the interim of all of that, you know, then it became, you know, we killing each other. They did not start out like that. So a lot of times, you know, people will come in and, you know, throw a little salt. You ever remember in your neighborhood, I had one in my neighborhood. In your neighborhood, you got that one guy that's just full of shit, and he's always pitting, you know, somebody against, like he'll come and say, yeah, man, so-and-so says so-and-so about you. Or, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you guys got that one rascal in the neighborhood that's going to, you know, always cause a fight, and then he's going to step back. After you get it popping, then he steps back and he's looking. You always got one. That could be girl or guy. But I'm saying you always got one of them in the community, one of them in the neighborhood. And that's the same thing with this. Somebody was just throwing some stuff in there. So now that we don't have a lot of that, you know, I see that it's trying to slowly creep back in. Like, I was looking at the Nipsey Hussle thing and I was like, yeah, that's not making sense to me. There's a lot more to that. I was looking at, you know, just the other things, you know, like the guy going into Roscoe's and shooting and all. You know what I'm saying? It takes, first of all, it takes a lot for a person to just come up and just shoot. I don't think that people are born to just be natural born killers. And when you're talking about, I think it's easy. When I see guys in a car and they're shooting, you know, in a car, that kind of makes sense to me, because it's like, and they usually hit somebody that's not even with it. I mean, they very rarely hit their target, because it's pretty hard to hit a shooting target. I mean, a moving target. It's pretty hard to do that. But, you know, and if you haven't had practice and you don't know how to shoot a gun, it's not as easy as it may seem, you know. And if you'll notice that most of the time when you have those random drive-bys and stuff, other passerbys get injured, and rarely, like I said, the person that they really hitting or trying to hit, they rarely get it, you know. So that tells me a lot when you're talking about sharpshooting and walking up and being able to shoot and all that. I just got a problem with that, because most of the gangs and most of the people that have guns, they're not trained. They don't go to the gun range and learn how to shoot. They don't go and hit targets and stuff. They don't do that. They just have a gun in their hand. Somebody tells them to go out and shoot. You know, sometimes I see where they say things like initiation, you got to kill somebody and all that. You know what? I am not a firm believer of all that. I believe that a lot of people have gotten into, you know, situations and made it very complicated and made it seem as though it was something else when it's really not. So when I look at all these rappers and hear, they're just getting killed and da. I also know that each one of them have like insurance policies on them. I mean, $1 million or millions of dollars, and a lot of them are worth more dead than alive. And we got to start looking at things. We got to start looking at things like, okay, who benefits from this? How does this benefit? I was just talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about coming together, and we were talking about, what would happen if we put $1 million insurance policies on all our young black boys? What if we did that? Do you know that whether the police killed them or someone else killed them, the insurance companies would start to do something? I mean, they would start to, it would be like, hey, we can't keep paying out all this money like this. So I'm looking at all these rappers, I'm looking at all these things happening, and I'm pretty sure the insurance company, just like me, is kind of like, wait a minute. It's a lot of these guys getting killed, and how much money are we paying out? Because insurance companies make money when nothing happens to you. They don't make money when something does happen to you. They got to pay out. So with all this payout, I believe, and this is just me, I believe we're going to see a lot of different things going on. I don't know if they're going to raise, what I'm saying, if you're a producer or a manager and you have an artist, I don't know if they're going to start raising this money up to like millions and millions of dollars where it's almost impossible to insure one of these artists, or how are they going to work it? Because some kind of way they're going to have to work it. It's too many of them dying. And who are the benefactors of this? Who benefits when they die? Who does? And that's what we got to start thinking about. Who benefits? I don't believe, and this is me, I do not believe that black people are just killing other black people because they ain't got nothing else to do. I do not believe that there's all rivalry and all this. I don't believe Tupac killed Biggie, and I don't believe, someone. I don't believe that. Now, that's just Rick. That's just me. I just don't. What I do remember is this. I remember that there was a great influence with Tupac. I do remember when he was out with Danny Bakewell and they were going places and encouraging people to vote, young people to vote. I know his mother was politically involved, and then I saw him, switch over to another venue. He was still singing and rapping. He was very conscious, but he was saying things that you know what I'm saying, that would hit the people and hit them like this. And make them like listen and make them think, put their thinking caps on. Same thing with Martin Luther King. I always hear that I have a dream speech, I have a dream. But even Martin, at the very, very end of everything, said, you know what? I'm sorry. I never should have led my people into this. What I should have done was hit economics. I should have hit the money. Yes, the boycotts and stuff were good. They were good. They hit in the pocket. But we as a people, we spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. If we took one day, just one day, and didn't spend any money at all, just one day. Not a lot, just one day. Buy all your little chips and your gas and all that the day before. But if we just took one day and didn't spend any money, we would cripple. We would cripple this country. We would cripple them. Our dollars are very valuable here, and we spend a lot of money because we like nice things. A lot of us spend money. I was looking at some rappers with the diamonds in their mouth and the platinum and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because in my mind I'm thinking, the diamonds and the gold and stuff don't mean anything if they're embedded in gold. The diamonds mean nothing. Instead of just buy bars of gold. Just buy bars of gold and save bars of gold. If you're going to get diamonds, just get uncut diamonds. Get diamonds, you know what I'm saying, that are valuable. Once they hit in a setting, they don't mean anything. They mean nothing. And if you buy big chains, gold chains and all that, you still got to melt it down to a bar for it to mean anything. So instead of doing that, just buy bars of gold. We don't need to keep wearing, you know what I'm saying? That's just, I think that comes from our culture. Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world. He was a black man. And he went all over the country just giving gold away, so much so that he upset the whole economy because he was giving so much gold away. I think that we are, as a people, we're accustomed to jewelry and we're accustomed to looking nice and smelling good. We're accustomed to that. We like nice things. And that's nice. That's nice. But when we put our money in on something and when we buy something, let's buy investment pieces. If you're going to buy furniture, don't buy new furniture. Go and buy vintage pieces where at least you can get your money back. You know, if you have to resell it. When you're going to buy diamonds and you're going to buy gold bars, buy platinum bars, buy copper bars, buy silver bars. You know what I'm saying? Those, you can redeem those. Those are redeemable. And it's not that the gold chains and stuff aren't, but hey, most of the time they're filled with some lead. They may be, I don't know, some of them, because if they're 22 or 24 karat gold, they would be very, very soft. So the fact that they're heavy and hard, they're mixed with some metals. So they may be 14, 18 karat gold, but they're not going to be 22, 20, and 24. Start buying gold bars. You know what? In Africa, they have so much gold. They have so much diamonds. They have so much stuff there. You know what I'm saying? Go there. Buy gold. Buy gold. Let me tell you something. Right here in Arkansas, there is a diamond mine. There's also gold. You can mine for gold here. You can mine for diamonds here. You can mine for crystals here in Arkansas, right in the United States. So, you know, if that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like I see guys with the little metal detectors on the beach and they pick up a lot of different things. What I'm saying is this. When you put your money out there, you know what I'm saying, make sure that when you put it out, you can get it back. If you buy real estate, people have to have a place to live. People have to have food. People have to have clothing. Clothing industry is huge. You know, I see, is that Elon Musk or one of those guys? He just wears a gray t-shirt and jeans. You know, that's just not our way. But you know what? We might want to do something a little different. We might not want to wear our money. We might want to see our money grow in the bank and then take that money and put it into something, invest into something. And when I say invest, I don't mean just into real estate. Invest in people. We have children, young children that have brilliant minds, but because they don't have a fairy godmother, or they live in a situation where their mind cannot really grow. Their mind is only enhanced by their surroundings. Start investing in them. It's nothing for us to go back to our community. We can go into projects and find brilliant babies. Take those babies. Teach them something. They don't need to know the rap game. They need to know about the law. They need to know about investment. They need to know about finances. There's so many things that they can learn, and not just what's right there with them. What we got to do, we got to reach one, teach one, reach one, teach one. And we can do that together. We can do that as a people, and we can learn so much. There are a lot. We have more wealth now with black people than ever before, I think. But I'm not so sure, because Black Wall Street had a lot of wealth in its time, you know, and people destroyed it because they didn't want to see that grow. They didn't want to see the people come together and grow. They didn't like the fact that people were spending money with each other and really doing things. There are people today that have never heard of the Black Wall Street and how it was destroyed by others. There are people today that don't even know that. And I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about black people. I remember my grandmother, and I used to count her little tickets. She was a presser, and she had 25-cent tickets, 10-cent tickets, 35-cent tickets. I mean, and she would count them up at night when she came home, and we'd laugh and, you know, count the tickets up. And she was able to buy her own house, pay for it, and be finished, and buy and do all the things she wanted to do. Most of our parents and grandparents, they were able to purchase real estate and do whatever they wanted to do on way less than what we get. I mean, We make more money than they made. And they managed to stretch their money further. And it was because they learned how to recycle their money amongst each other. They learned how to patronize each other. And I'm not saying patronize your brother or sister and they not doing what they supposed to do. No, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to do what you got to do. And it's your business. You can't let somebody just tear it up. I don't care if they're black or white. We don't have any love for somebody that's just going to tear our stuff down. So no, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that there's a lot of us out there that are good people. We are people of our word. We are people that do what we say we're going to do. There are a lot of us out there. You just got to find them. And when you do, you stick with them. There's some people in, I can't remember where it is, but there's like 19 of them. They put their money together and they're buying a town. You know, they've come together, put their resources together, and they're doing something. They're doing something. We need to be slow to speak, and we need to be more about taking care of our business. We need to be more active in what we do. Like I said, you see a kid out there and you see him doing something, say something. Because a lot of times children are out there because they have to be, not because they want to be. You know, and sometimes those same brilliant minds are able to do marketing, able to count, able to do a lot of stuff. But because their lifestyle has been, you know, directed in another direction, not a good direction, they just master that. And what happens is, what always happens, they end up getting caught, going to jail, losing a lot of time in their life, coming out, you know what I'm saying, and not because they're, you know, incarcerated, they become a product of that. And sometimes they come out, they don't know anything else to do. Let's keep that from happening. We got a lot of brilliant babies out there. They got your children in school. If it's not happening in your school, take them out. Take your children out of school. Take your children out and teach them yourself. If you can't do it, gather up with other parents. You know what I'm saying? If you've got a good skill that you can help that child with, then you take one day out of the week to teach. Let that other parent that may be good in English take one day off. You can rotate and you can teach your children and they can grow and get a lot. I mean, your children are amazing. I can say my children are amazing. My grandchildren are amazing. They're amazing. They're amazing. Not because that they were so smart, but because they had someone there that was concerned about them understanding life and understanding what they needed to do to navigate through this thing called life. And we can do the same. We can't keep losing our babies to other people. We can't keep losing our babies. You notice that other cultures will come in and pick the best and take them and bring them in their culture and then surround them with their culture, and they know nothing else. They forget their blackness and they stay right there. They don't have any understanding. When you see those brothers and sisters, don't look down on them and say, you acting white. Don't do that. You look at them and you embrace them. It's like, hey, brother, hey, sister, embrace them. Let them know I love you, because so many other people have told them they don't want you. They don't like you. They don't want you in their community. And it's not true. Embrace them. Love them. Talk to them. Explain to them. We got a lot of people. We got so many people that, like I said, are making just large strides, you know, in life and making like an abundance of money. I mean, making a lot of money. And they're making smart money moves. And all of that is good. But it doesn't work if it's just you. And what I'm asking is each and every one of you that's making that kind of money, reach back and get one. Not just your kids, but reach back and get one of those kids where you came from, whether it be New York, whether it be Chicago, whether it be California, whether it be Atlanta, wherever. Reach back and get just one, and put them and take them under your wing and teach them what you know. And then that one will teach another one and another and another. And we will begin to be a very, very, very powerful powerful community again. We are a loving community. We're loving people. And hey, we have a lot going on. My time is up. And I have to have this because, you know, I love you guys. And I just would talk to you guys forever and ever. But I have to time myself where I can talk to you again. I love you so much. And I thank you again for allowing me to come into your home. Thank you again for listening. And I want you to put your thinking cap on, and I want you to think about what I've said, because it's important that we reach one, teach one, okay? Even our politicians, we have attorneys, we have doctors. I don't care. Grab one. Grab a student in medical school, you doctors. Grab a student in law school, you attorneys. Do you know Johnny Cochran? You know, I mean, just a really good dude, an amazing man. I mean, he used to come in and out of our household when we were children, very close with my uncle and my mother. I mean, an amazing, brilliant mind. We got to learn how to leave legacies. We can no longer just die without a will. And when I say die without a will, I don't mean just, you know, because we do that too. I don't mean just die without a will. I mean die without a legacy. We have got to begin to share what we know with someone else that needs to know, where that person can reach someone else that needs to know. We cannot keep dying with just going to the grave with everything that we know. When I look at Prince and James Brown and John Singleton and others that have died without wills. They have died without wills, and their families are squabbling and going back and forth and arguing about money when he could have left something that was much more. John Singleton could have taught some children about film. He could have taught them all the pitfalls that he had and to keep them from doing them. He could have taught them to become very, very successful filmmakers, producers. I mean, artists of the craft. He could have left that legacy. Forget about the money. Same thing with James Brown. Nobody else dances like James Brown. Nobody else can be James Brown. And even though James Brown was an excellent, excellent dancer and, you know, had the moves, he could have taught someone else. Michael Jackson. I could go on and on and on and on of our culture, people that just die and we don't share it. We got to start sharing it. Whatever age you are, start finding a youngster. You know what I'm saying? And talk to them. If you don't do nothing but meet with them once a week, hey man, let's just make a commitment to meet once a week and just talk. You know, hey, how's your life going? We don't have to get all the way into business, but we do need to find out what's on that young person's mind. It's like, what you want to do? What would you like to do? You know what I mean? Find out what it is. And then you can start directing him or her in the right direction. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm Riq the Critic. I love you. Thank you so much. And again, like I said, I can talk and go on and on and on because I just enjoy being in your company. Take care. And if you haven't caught this, if you missed this Instagram, I'm at Riq the Critic, RIQ. THECRITIC, Riq the Critic on YouTube, and you'll find my recent shows, and you'll also find some shows all the way down, like I said, to 2007 when I was in the studio and Pasadena Media. So you'll find all of those old things. This right here for me is very new. Instagram is very new for me, so I ask you to bear with me. And if you'll notice at the end of the the shows, you'll see me still trying to fumble around and trying to find out, what I can do. Last week I didn't even know. I got up. My daughter said, "Mom, just get up and walk away and do it like that." So I walked around, I hit the button, but I didn't archive it. So my show that I had last Friday was live, but I wasn't able to archive it in YouTube. So I'm asking that the practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. And so what I'm doing is practicing and trying to get information and content out to you, and at the same time trying to get better content, trying to get better visuals, trying to be more, you know what I'm saying, have it where it's looking crisp and it's looking clean and it's looking good. So like I said, just kind of bear with me. If I was in Pasadena media, you know how it would be. It would be like the song, the commercials, and all that. Right now it's a little raw and uncut, but it's still content that we need. It's still information that we need to share with others. It's still valuable information. Okay? I'm Riq the Critic. I'm out.